Thanks for existing. Don't come. My dad texted me on Christmas. I've been covering everything, rent, food, and bills, while living with my sister. That night, she told them I was just squatting. I said nothing, but the next morning, her key didn't fit, and two gift-wrap boxes waited in silence, one still moving. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. Thanks for existing. Don't come. That was the message I got from my dad on Christmas Eve. No explanation, no greeting, just 6 dry words, like a final stamp of rejection. I sat on the floor of my room, legs folded, blinking at the screen as if the message would morph into something kinder if I stared long enough. It didn't. They were all there. My parents, my sister, celebrating the holiday like a happy, complete family, and I was the one left out again. I've been covering everything for the last year and a half, rent, food, utilities. My sister Alina had lost her job, or so she claimed, and while she figured things out, I footed the bill. Every bill. Quietly, without complaining. Because that's what family does, right? That night, she didn't say much before she left for Christmas dinner at our parents'. Just tossed her coat over her shoulder, gave her curls one last fluff in the mirror, and paused at the door. Oh, in case they ask, I told them you're just kind of squatting here, since your name's not on the lease. She didn't say it like a joke. She said it like a fact. I looked up from the dishes I was doing. My hands froze in the soapy water. You told them what? She rolled her eyes. Relax. It's not a big deal. I just didn't want them thinking I'm letting you live here rent-free or something. It's just easier this way. But I am paying the rent. I said, my voice quiet but flat. Yeah, well, they don't need to know that. She left before I could answer. I didn't text. I didn't call. I didn't try to explain myself. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the cheap string lights I'd hung weeks ago, wondering how many more years I'd keep doing this. Keep paying for people who had already decided I didn't belong. By midnight, I made a decision. I got up, opened the hallway closet, pulled out the toolkit, and changed the locks. No hesitation. No guilt. When I went to bed, the apartment felt lighter, quiet, safe, mine, maybe for the first time. The next morning around 8:17 a.m., I heard the sound of keys fumbling at the door. A click, a curse, another click, nothing, then knocking, then pounding, then silence. I didn't open the door, but I did leave something for her. 2 gift-wrap boxes sat neatly on the welcome mat. One was medium-sized, tied with a perfect ribbon. The other was smaller and still moving. It started small, groceries first, then rent, then her student loans, which she claimed she'd totally pay back soon. And when she got fired again, I didn't ask questions. I just stepped in. I took on extra shifts. I sold my old laptop. I gave up travel, hobbies, even dating. I convinced myself that this was just temporary, that helping my sister stay afloat was what good brothers did. But temporary became routine, and routine became obligation, and obligation turned into silence. Because what do you even say to someone who lets you pay their bills, then tells your parents you're squatting in your apartment? I should have seen it coming. Alina had always had a way with words. She knew how to twist things just enough to make herself the victim, and me the nuisance. As kids, she cried her way out of everything. As adults, she cried her way into everyone's wallet, even our parents, especially our parents. To them, she was the creative soul. A little chaotic, Mom used to say with a laugh, but she means well. Meanwhile, I was too serious, too controlling, too cold. But cold is what you become when love comes with conditions. I stopped going to family dinners months ago, not because I didn't want to see them, but because I couldn't keep pretending. Every conversation turned into a financial guilt trip. You're the stable one. She's struggling. You know she has a delicate spirit. Why are you always so difficult? The truth? I was tired of paying for everything, tired of being the only adult in the room, tired of waking up every day in an apartment I paid for just to be told I was a burden. But the moment that snapped something in me came just 3 weeks before Christmas. We were sitting in the living room. I'd just gotten off a 12-hour shift and had picked up takeout for both of us. I placed the bag on the table. Alina didn't even look up from her phone. Can you Venmo me? She said casually. For my part of the takeout? I blinked. You mean the takeout I bought with my card, using my money, while you haven't paid rent in 3 months? She shrugged, thumbs still flying across her screen. Yeah, but you chose to do that. I didn't ask you. You've been asking me all year. Yeah, she said, finally looking up. Well, no one forced you. And that's when it hit me. She never felt guilty, not once. She wasn't using me out of desperation. She was using me because I let her. A week later, I saw the credit card bill. Not mine, hers, or what should have been hers. The only problem? The statement was under my name. I sat on the edge of my bed, heart pounding, staring at the balance. $6,438.72 spent at Sephora, Apple, Zara, a spa resort, a tattoo deposit. I called the company. They confirmed the account was open with my social security number and email. She had stolen my identity. I didn't even confront her right away. I just went quiet, observed, tracked, took screenshots, watched her waltz around the apartment in new boots and an Apple Watch, laughing on FaceTime with her friends, talking about my stupid brother like I wasn't 5 feet away. I was going to wait until New Year's to say something, maybe even February. Let it build, let it sting. But then Christmas came, and the message from my dad, thanks for existing, don't come. And Alina that night, sipping wine, said with a smirk, I mean, you can't really expect them to see you as family when you act like a tenant. You don't belong. So, I changed the locks. I left her the gifts I'd originally bought her because I'm not cruel, and I added one more. The second box. Inside, a copy of the credit card statement, with her name written across it in red marker, and a flash drive with audio files, recordings I'd made of her bragging to her friends, one where she said laughing, honestly, he deserves it. He's like a bank with no overdraft fees. Why wouldn't I take advantage? The box trembled slightly because of the phone I'd hidden inside. Mine. Set on vibrate, buzzing on loop from a scheduled alarm. I wanted her to feel what I'd been feeling all year. Confused, rattled, shaken. I was in the kitchen reheating leftovers when the banging started. Not knocking. Banging, like someone wanted to break the door in. It didn't surprise me. What surprised me was how calm I felt. I opened the door slowly. There she was. Alina. Hair a mess. Eyeliner smudged. Rage written across her face. What is this? She screamed, holding up the still-moving silver box like it was a bomb. I tilted my head. A Christmas present. It was vibrating. I know. Did you open it? Her mouth opened, then shut. You should, I said, stepping aside. Come in, since you don't have keys anymore. She stormed in, dropping the box on the coffee table. The ribbon was half untied. She yanked the lid off and stared. Silence. Inside, perfectly arranged, were a stack of printed screenshots from her text conversations where she called me a freeloader and just a walking paycheck. A flash drive labeled for Dad, play this if you still have a spine, and a sticky note folded neatly with just one line. Your lease is up. Emotionally and otherwise. She turned to me, eyes wild. You're heartless. No, I said, just done. Right then my phone buzzed. A call from Dad. I answered it on speaker. Son, what is going on? Your sister just showed us what you left her. That was cruel. What happened to family? I let out a short laugh. You mean the family that told me not to come to Christmas? That wasn't about you, he snapped. You've been cold. You isolate yourself. You told me not to come, I cut in. And guess what? I listened. Alina snatched the phone from my hand. Dad, he's gone completely nuts. He changed the locks. He's stalking me. He planted. Oh, please, I said, grabbing the phone back. Why don't you tell him what's really in that box? There was a pause. Dad, I continued, voice steady. Do you know who's been using my name to open credit accounts? Do you know who's $6,438 in debt under my identity? Silence. Then Dad spoke. Is that true? No, Alina shouted. He's making that up. He's trying to get attention. Then why does Capital One have her email address attached to an account with my social security number? I said. Why are there receipts from stores she shops at and my name? No answer. But the best part, I continued, walking to the shelf and pulling out a small black speaker, is this. I pressed play. Her voice filled the room, clear as day. He's just so easy to manipulate. He always feels guilty. I could burn down the apartment and he'd still pay my phone bill. Her face drained of color. That's out of context. Really? I raised a brow. What's the context of he deserves to suffer? Dad was silent. So was she. So was the world. Then came the knock, a soft, unexpected one. I opened the door. It was Mom. And behind her, Mike, Alina's ex-boyfriend. What are you? Alina started. I need to talk to you, Mike said. Both of you. His voice was trembling, but not from fear, from fury. I just found out, he said, looking directly at me, that someone has been using my name too. 2 iPhones ordered last month, a hotel booked in my name. They called me for payment today. He turned to Alina. Was it you? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Why would I do that? He looked down at the box on the coffee table, the flash drive, the printed screenshots, the speaker still glowing red. I think you should leave, he said. Now what? She snapped. I'm staying here, Mike said, stepping inside. My jaw clenched. What do you mean here? I mean, he said, looking at me, if you'll let me crash a few days, I think we've both been played by the same person, and maybe it's time we stop playing her game. Alina blinked like she'd been slapped. You're siding with him? I'm done siding with liars. She stood there frozen for the first time in her life. No script, no fake tears, no one to manipulate. Just silence. Don't worry, I said, tossing her coat from the chair. Your things are in the hallway, right next to the trash. Feel free to guess which is which. She left. No more threats, no more guilt. Just footsteps down the hall and the sound of the elevator closing. The morning after Alina left, the silence in my apartment was no longer empty. It was earned. I stood in the kitchen holding a mug of reheated coffee, watching the steam rise in lazy spirals. I expected to feel guilt, maybe regret, but there was nothing like that. No ache in my chest, no second guessing, just peace. Mike was still asleep on the couch, snoring softly under a blanket I tossed him the night before. He hadn't said much after Alina left, just nodded, muttered finally, and passed out. But when he woke up, he saw the laptop open on the table and raised an eyebrow. You're working already? I'm getting my money back. He sat up, rubbing his face. What? Like pressing charges? More than that. I turned the screen toward him. This is going to be official. Step 1, the claim. I'd already begun compiling evidence the night Alina left. I had folders, literal folders, of documentation. Screenshots of credit card statements, IP login records, my bank account history, and even receipts for every charge she'd made under my name. I submitted a formal identity theft report to the police and opened cases with all the affected financial institutions. Capital One responded first. They flagged the account and started a full fraud investigation. By Friday, my phone buzzed with a confirmation email. You have been approved for full reimbursement. $6,438.72 back in my account. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling for the first time in days. But I wasn't done. Step 2, the calculation. I opened a spreadsheet and started counting. 18 months of paying for 2 people. Rent, $950 per month. Utilities, $180 average. Groceries, $400. Her random emergencies, $100 to $500, sometimes more. I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. By the time I hit the bottom of the sheet, my stomach turned. $17,892, not including emotional damage. Not including the weeks I skipped meals or pulled double shifts just to stay ahead. I took screenshots, saved them to a flash drive, and called a lawyer. Step 3, the suit. I'm not just here because she used my credit, I said to the attorney. I want restitution. She lived off me for over a year, and my parents encouraged it. He was a sharp man, wore expensive shoes, and smiled like he'd already won. Do you have proof? He asked. I slid the flash drive across his desk. He plugged it in, clicked, scanned. His eyes widened. You documented everything, every dollar, and the parents? They added my name to utility accounts without my knowledge. I found the contracts. He gave a low whistle. This is not just identity theft. This is long-term financial exploitation. So do we have a case? Oh, he said, leaning back. We have a very public one. Step 4, the explosion. 3 weeks later, on a rainy Wednesday afternoon, 3 certified letters landed at my parents' home. One for Alina, one for Mom, one for Dad. All from the law office of Keller & Moore. Within 20 minutes, my phone rang. Caller ID. I answered. What are you doing? She snapped. Good morning to you too. You're suing us after everything we've done for you? Done to me, I corrected. Let's not twist it. We're your family. You were also the co-signers on 2 utility bills and added me to a third without consent. That's fraud. It was just paperwork. It was theft. You're blowing this out of proportion. You told me not to come to Christmas. The line went silent. Then her voice dropped an octave. We raised you. We let you stay here when you needed. I paid for everything. I was never staying. I was supporting. There's a difference. Step 5, the ally. 3 days later, my grandmother called. I hadn't heard from her in months. Not since Alina had told me, Nana's tired of your drama. Don't call her anymore. But now her voice was firm. I saw the lawsuit, she said, and I saw the bank statement. My heart dropped. You saw the bond? She sighed. Your father cashed out over $9,000 from a savings bond, one created in your name. He used it to pay off Alina's old car. I sat down. Heart. You didn't know, she asked. I didn't know there was a bond. Well, she said, there isn't anymore. I've frozen what's left and moved the account. It's yours again where it should have been. I didn't know what to say. Then she added, also, I've rewritten my will. You'll be receiving my house when the time comes. I know you'll do what's right with it. I blinked. Nana, why? Because, she said, you're the only one who never asked for anything, and you're the only one who kept receipts. The courtroom. Alina came in wearing beige like she was auditioning for sympathy. Mom wore black. Dad didn't make eye contact. My lawyer laid it all out. Page after page of statements, audio recordings, text messages, bank fraud, power of attorney misuses, false accounts, savings bond violations. Alina tried to cry. Mom claimed early onset confusion. Dad just looked tired. But the judge wasn't tired. Is it true you listed your son's name on financial documents without consent? She asked my mother. I mean, it was family. Ma'am, yes or no? Silence. Yes, she finally whispered. The ruling came quick. $13,000 in restitution. Cleared of all fraudulent debts, court costs covered, and a formal warning on their records. The post-credit scene. 2 weeks later, I got a letter, handwritten, no return address. Alina's writing. I recognized it instantly. You happy now? You made your point. Inside, folded in half, was a picture. Me and her as kids, sitting under a Christmas tree. I looked at our faces. The way she was clinging to me, like I was the only thing keeping her balanced. I grabbed a pen. On the back, I wrote one line. You let go first. Then I burned the photo. It's funny what silence sounds like when you've earned it. 3 months after the court ruling, I still hadn't heard a word from my parents. No texts, no calls, not even a birthday card. And you know what? Good. I no longer had to explain myself. No more proving I wasn't a disappointment. No more, you should understand how hard your sister has it. No more, you're the stable one. We need you. My life finally belonged to me. I stayed in the same apartment, but for the first time, it actually felt like mine. The kind of place where you open the fridge and everything inside belongs to you, not to someone who called you a squatter behind your back. Where the air feels still, not heavy with tension. Where no one hijacks the Wi-Fi, clogs the sink, or leaves passive-aggressive notes about groceries they didn't pay for. It was the same walls, same couch, same view from the window, but the silence, that was brand new. The peace, unfamiliar, quiet, powerful. The cost. Sometimes people ask, wasn't it hard? Wasn't it cruel to cut off your whole family? And my answer is always the same. It was necessary. I spent so many years shrinking myself to fit their comfort, smiling through insults, writing checks instead of setting boundaries, letting them call me selfish for not giving them everything while they gave me nothing but guilt. The real cruelty was how long I let it happen. When I finally stopped playing the obedient son and the generous brother, I saw the truth. They didn't miss me. They missed what I gave them. The message. One afternoon in May, I opened my email to a message from a name I didn't recognize. The subject line, your sister isn't doing well. It was from a woman named Tessa. apparently one of Alina's old friends. The message was short, cold. She's couch hopping, lost her job again, says you ruined her life, thought you'd want to know. I stared at the screen for a long time, and then I hit delete. Not because I didn't care, but because caring isn't the same as going back. The last encounter. One day, I ran into my dad at a gas station. We locked eyes across the pump. He looked older, smaller, like someone who had finally run out of excuses. He approached slowly, not with anger, but with a strange sort of shame. "You look good," he said. I nodded. He looked down at the ground. "You know your mother's still angry." I stayed quiet. "She says you ruined Christmas." I raised an eyebrow. "That's funny. She started it with 'Don't come.' I just listened." He sighed. "Family fights, son." "No," I said. "Families fight for each other. You fought for Alina. You never fought for me." He didn't have a response to that. He just stood there waiting for me to give him a way back in. I didn't. I got in my car, drove away, and it felt like peace. This wasn't revenge. This was freedom. Let me make something clear. This wasn't about vengeance. This wasn't about punishing anyone. This wasn't about proving that I was right, even though I was. This was about letting go. Letting go of a system where love meant transactions. Letting go of the guilt that was never mine to carry. Letting go of the version of myself that begged to be seen, heard, valued. I didn't set out to destroy my family. I just stopped destroying myself to protect them. People like Alina, people who take and blame and twist, they survive because others keep absorbing the impact. I stopped absorbing, and the whole machine fell apart. Not because I broke it, but because I walked away. And for the first time, the first real, soul-deep time, I felt alive, the unexpected closure. 2 weeks ago, I got a package, no return address. Inside was a simple envelope, and inside the envelope, one single photograph. It was me and Ellie, Alina's daughter from years ago. She was maybe 4, sitting on my shoulders, laughing, gripping my face with her tiny hands, and on the back of the photo in shaky, unfamiliar writing, "I'm sorry for how my mom treated you. Thank you for everything. Ellie." I stared at the words until they blurred. I still don't know how she got my address, maybe my grandmother, maybe fate, but that one note, it made everything worth it. I keep that photo now in my desk drawer, not because it ties me to the past, but because it reminds me, walking away doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you start loving yourself more. And that's not revenge, that's freedom.